Welcome everybody. New camera, new microphone. What's going on today? Got a lot to talk about, lots of crypto news. The elections are tonight, they end tomorrow. We're going to have a new president. Are we ready for it? We ready for America's Civil War number 2? Just kidding. But I don't know about you guys, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired of seeing it all on my feed. I'm tired of everybody getting so divided. Everybody trying to make us divided so that we don't focus on the more important issues. But, I mean, you guys know what I think. There is a better candidate and a worse candidate, especially for crypto and for the economy as well. And if you don't agree, then you better get out there and vote so that the party that you don't like doesn't rig the election. You know, no matter who wins, they're both going to be saying, so if Trump wins, right, they're going to launch the Russia FUD. Maybe they already used the Russia FUD, so I don't know if they can use the Russia FUD again. And then if Kamala wins, it's illegal immigration, too big to rig, and blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes, guys. People are going to complain. The money printer is still going to go burr. The money printer will still print money regardless. Now, short term, it's going to be a little bit scary. You know, there's a chart of all the past historical elections and Bitcoin. And you can plot it on a chart. The presidential election, in every single case so far, no matter who was president, red or blue, didn't matter, led to a parabolic run, regardless of who was president. So Bitcoin to 100K, whether or not we get Scamala Harris or a good old Donald Pump, you know, I'm pretty sure my audience probably leans one way, but I know there's a couple of liberals out there. I used to be one. That's actually a lie. I don't play two-party politics, but I still am very socially liberal. I believe people should do whatever they want. I believe everybody should do whatever they want with their body. My body, my choice. Goes for abortions and vaccines. Ooh, spicy. You know, it's like the contradictions, the gaslighting. We shouldn't have to pick one team because Richard Hart says, you know, it's like toppings on a sandwich. Getting into two-party politics is a dangerous game because if you say I am a Republican, I am a Democrat, then you have to agree with all the shitty stuff that they like too. And there's stuff that both sides are right about in different scenarios. So you pick your politics like you pick your toppings on a sandwich, or so they say. Anyway, I'm tired of talking about it, but let's check out the PolyMarket odds, shall we? PolyMarket odds for Donald Pump versus Scamala Harris. Let's see. PolyMarket. What are the crypto bros saying? And guys, you might be able to say that PolyMarket is a cohort of crypto bros, but if that was the case, you know, 4 months ago, they actually had Harris winning. And now they have, it looks like 58.9% Trump, 41.2% Harris. She's just tough to like, guys. I don't know. I mean, I try to watch them as objectively as I can. I try to watch both of them talk and speak for long periods of time and not just take little clips out of context. And whenever you hear an out of context clip, that should make you want to go watch the whole thing. That should make you want to go watch however much time they're on speaking. I don't know if Harris has ever done more than an hour, but I've watched Trump speak for 3 hours straight. Very coherent, very well spoken. I mean, grandpa energy, grandpa vibes. That's just my 2 cents, but who cares, guys? I'm just a guy on the internet. Don't get triggered. It's all designed to trigger you. It's all designed to keep you fighting. The same 6 companies own the media. Time Warner, Sony. What are the other ones? Time Warner, Sony, News Corp. There's like 6 companies, okay? They all put a spin on the news nowadays because they cannot compete with social media algorithms, which are inherently polarizing, and they can't compete with long-form content like, you know, JRE or Call Her Daddy or whatever. That stuff gets multiple X's more views than the mainstream media. The lamestream media, the fake news media, whatever you want to call them. Hey, DGen Dougie, what's going on? Dixon Cider, Zenith, SMO Spider, Ola, what's going on, everybody? Hey, thanks for coming, everybody. Innovator, Daniel 87 licensed. Good to see everybody. I will get to questions in a minute. Hey, Crypto Kings is in the chat. We're not going to talk about the election the whole time. Don't worry, guys. That's going to drive me insane too. Just like it's probably already driven you guys insane. Oh, it's terrible, man. It's like we're going to get this over with, but we also have to talk about the SEC versus Richard Hart. And we also have to talk about Pedi, the pegging. Could the pegging be upon us? I'm still on the fence. So some people will call it FUD. Other people will just call it healthy skepticism. And we're going to talk about Pedi, how there's a proposal launching pretty soon in the Maker smart contracts to allow HEX, PLS, and PulseChain as collateral types. Now, will this be voted on by Richard? Or will he do nothing? Will the community vote yes? I think the community would vote yes. I predict Richard's probably going to do nothing when that comes out, but shout out to the great 9 Iron Capital for its excellent detective work, and of course guys like Hodlnomics and all kinds of guys out there. There's so many people talking about it. It's one of the most interesting stories on PulseChain. Right, you got protein dye. Will it peg to $1? Could it be too good to be true? Because there are some hurdles, right? There's a lot of assumptions being made here. I'm going to talk about why it could happen, possibly, but if it did happen, let's talk about what else would have to happen other than simply a lot of Richard's own money going into collateralizing a vault. Well, almost all of it, depending on the price. Hey, Hexologist is in the chat. I'm also tough to like, but I won your heart, Crypto Coffee. Yes, my heart lives with one doctor. Ever since that fateful checkup, which we shall not talk about. Pookie Doo says, let's go coffee. Today's the day. Algo pump. That's right. Smash the like, subscribe. Do it for the algo. Do it for the algo. Let's see. Let's try to screen share really quick. I might have messed this up because I did not do this earlier. Window capture. Yep. I'm going to have to, not screen share. I'll just read you guys what's happening on the screen. How about that? How about that, guys? Don't have too much time. Got about an hour, then I'm going to go to this movie screening for a crypto movie. It's not the highest of stakes. It's called Dirty Coin. It's about how Bitcoin is dirty, apparently. I don't know if they're going to talk about it's bad for the environment. Maybe they're going to talk about the insiders that got in early. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be like a hit piece or if it's going to put crypto in a good light. We will see. A lot of the libs out there mad that Bitcoin is bad for the environment. It is bad for the environment. You guys are correct. Bitcoin, terrible for the environment. Now, you could say, well, that's the price you pay for peer-to-peer digital money and subverting the banking cartel. I think it's a pretty important cause, right? Pretty noble cause. Maybe we can afford to use, this might be blasphemy, but maybe we can afford to use 1% of global electricity per year to power our own banking system by the people for the people, without middlemen, away from the hands of the corrupt banking institutions. Maybe that's worth it, but even if it's not, we've got better tech now. So, Bitcoin was like the VCR, and Ethereum is like the DVD player. Okay, stuff just gets better. Technology gets better over time. PulseChain is a clone of what, guys? Ethereum. We know this. And it uses 99.9% less electricity with proof of stake versus proof of work. So they're going to try to throw all kinds of polarizing stuff at you guys. I'm kind of surprised they haven't leaned into the Bitcoin bad for the environment thing yet, but it's so easy to disprove nowadays. Maybe that's why they didn't lean into it. That sounds like a lefty argument, you know what I mean? Well, you don't have to use Bitcoin. We could use something else. We could use PulseChain. We could use HEX. Not very wasteful. A wild SJ is in the chat. Thank you so much. Willie Will says, I love your channel. Thank you so much, Willie Will. Oh, man. Guys, I got a new microphone, too. I realized something about microphones, okay? I realized something about microphones. Just because you have the microphone that Joe Rogan has doesn't mean it's going to sound as good as Rogan, okay? So first of all, I think a lot of podcasters get this microphone because you just Google, like, if you're like I did, right? You just go to Google and you're like, what's the best microphone? Which microphone does Joe Rogan use? And you're like, oh, it's the Shure SM7B. And so you get that mic and you're like, okay, like, why is it not loud? Why is it not boosting? Well, why do I need to get this phantom power? I need to get a sound card, and then I need to get a booster, like a cloud lifter or something like that. Like, this thing is really, really quiet. It's really quiet. And also, I guess technically that microphone was mainly used for recording artists back in like radio, when there was a lot of background noise going on in the studio, or for, rappers and stuff that are very, very loud. But also when you want to minimize noise going on in the studio. So they're inherently very quiet unless you're talking right into them directly. So I'm using this USB microphone, and I have a suspicion that this cheap little old USB microphone might actually be better sound than the $400 Shure SM7B. So if you guys want to start a YouTube channel, it's okay to go with the $100 cheapo USB microphone. It might actually sound better. More money doesn't always mean better everything. I'm sure I could, we're not here to talk about microphones. Let's move on. Sneak in your own candy. Don't overpay, bro. That's right. Or just don't even eat the candy in the first place. Because that's poison too. Big candy. That's just big candy that's trying to sell you more candy. Crypto Coffee bringing the morning goodness. Okay, well, good morning to you, sir. It is afternoon. It is evening where I am. It is almost nighttime. The sun is setting. I need someone to dump again. You guys bought it all back up too fast. That's right, Hexo. Give Hexo a dip. Did you guys give Hexo a dip already? Somebody today just sold, what was it, about $1 million worth? Maybe $800,000 worth of HEX. They sold for about $800,000. Okay, $850,000. Maybe it was $900K. It was almost $1 million. And then you look at their whole bag, and they've still got $4 million of HEX. So why would they do this? Why would they dump right now? Well, some people are trying to trade the election. Okay, some people know that there's going to be instability and short-term fear. Don't panic, guys. Please do not panic. Regardless of who wins, if you wake up and your team didn't win, first of all, let's pick a different game. Pick a crypto team. Do not pick a red versus blue state-sponsored team. Those are the only two teams you're allowed to pick, and they both suck. So if you see somebody tomorrow that you don't like, that happens to have won, don't panic. It's going to be short-term, bullish or bearish, who knows. And then everything's going to recover. And then in Q1 of 2025, everything's going to be okay. Because people can't think, even 3 months in the future. Bitcoin's going to 100K. You know what debatably is actually more important than the election? Is the Federal Reserve is literally meeting to lower interest rates again, potentially on November 7th. So November 7th, we got the election back to back with November 7th. But some people, they're dumping before this date, maybe to de-risk. But what is de-risking, guys? De-risking just means you didn't have the balls to hold. You didn't have the diamond hands to hold through this big scary thing. Now, okay, maybe this guy is like a sophisticated investor. Maybe we should stop picking on this guy. Maybe we should stop whale watching. Some people know what they're doing when it comes to de-risking. But for plebs, average Joe Schmoes like you and me on the street, you don't want to be moving around too much, especially for short-term news events that we're going to recover from in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks anyway. Okay. So this guy, you watch this big guy. He had $5 million. He de-risked by selling $1 million. You don't need to be copying what these guys are doing. You just need to believe harder. You need to believe that this is all going to be fine, regardless of who's in office, because crypto, the bull case for crypto has not changed at all. Money printer go burr. All this money's got to go somewhere. Regardless of who's in office, I think they're going to have a hard time dismantling the Federal Reserve. Hey, but if anybody can do it, it might be the orange man. You know what I mean? It was Dumpster, aka Pulse Latina. I have no idea, bro. People are always talking about me, pointing fingers. Dix Insider says you need a cloud lifter for the SM7B. I know. I had a cloud lifter for it. Even with the phantom power. And it's just not the volume level that I really wanted. Black Beauty Machine says, Trump says Barron gives him good advice on the campaign trail. Dad, just take it easy now. Take it easy, Dad. Yeah, I saw that comment as well. You got to love the Trumps, right? The Trump brothers. They're who's really pulling the strings, right? They're the puppet masters. They're telling Trump how to meme, right? His sons are, they're master memers. And they're the ones that are probably setting up all these, interviews with Theo Vaughn, interviews with JRE. It's got to be his sons, because I don't think Trump realizes how important the intellectual dark web has become, so to speak. JRE, 32 million views in a day? A single day, 24 hours? They blow mainstream media's numbers out of the water. And when you got a guy, everyone makes fun of him, right? Trump is easy to rip on, I get it. He's hilarious, easy to rip on. But he's always talking about the size of his crowds. When you think about it, it's like the people that are actually getting off their butt to come see you at a rally are the people that are probably going to vote. So the size of your crowd actually does matter. It does matter more when they're not tricked into thinking that it was an Usher concert. Oh man, I'm going to become one of those political YouTubers. Let's get out of this. Let's get out of this loop. Let's change the topic, guys. But we can't change the topic. The election is fucking tomorrow. What else are we going to talk about? Joe Rogan, Elon Musk just released an episode. Joe Rogan and Elon Musk? Oh my God, dude. He's bringing the Avengers together. You got RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Vivek, Elon Musk. Oh, the libs are triggered. They're rolling over in their graves. I can hear the liberal screams in the distance. Just kidding, guys. Just joking around, guys. Just joking around. I know for the like 2 or 3 liberals in the chat, I'm not trying to pick on you. I think two-party politics is dumb. I'll say it again. Two-party politics is stupid. Richard's brother, don't get the $25 jabs. Walmart, Mike. J-Labs or jabs? I thought you were going to say jabs from Walmart. Richard's brother, how you doing, man? I hope you're recovering from that shitty roommate of yours, sir. Stealing all your money for a little bit of blow-cane. Richard's only brother. Having some roommate problems, so I hear. But good to see you in the chat, sir. Good to see you in the chat. Make dips great again. What is shaking crypto coffee? Hello, checks from Pulse Future Wealth Squad. TBH, if I had 4 million PHEX, I would dump 1 million PHEX for EDI and keep it tight. Fair. Yeah, you know, it's fair. Okay, it's fair. Because there might be some short-term instability. He might be able to buy back lower. But for the average person, I'm just saying for the average person, the more times that you move your crypto around, the more times you move, the more chances you have to make a mistake. And what if Trump wins and markets go ballistic? You know, like you would hate to be sidelined and then have to buy back higher, right? You don't want to buy back higher from the same guy that you just sold to because, you know, you were trading. But I know what you mean, dude. Everyone's got a different situation. Morning in Australia, but it's happy hour somewhere. That's right, Heart with Dog. Money sign hog. Zenith says the CPI report after the Fed meeting. That too, Zenith. That too, Zenith. The magical numbers, the tea leaves, the crystal ball. We're going to ask the Magic 8 Ball who's going to win the election. Will Trump win the election tomorrow? Ask again later. That's fair. That's a fair response from the Magic 8 Ball. Interesting how they're saying Pennsylvania is the key state and that's where RH was born and Trump assassination attempt happened. It's also interesting about Pennsylvania that that's where the capital was about to be. If it wasn't Washington, D.C., it was, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, history nerds in the chat, but I think before we incorporated into a country in, what was it, 1776, I think the capital of the USA was in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for a little bit. That might be totally wrong. Pennsylvania is a special place for America, isn't it? It's funny how historical things tend to happen in certain locations. I don't know. Maybe there's something there. Maybe that's the idea of the, what is it called? Places have a memory. The morpho resonance. What is that? Morpho resonance? Let's see. Morphic resonance. Rupert Sheldrake. Morphic resonance is a theoretical concept proposed by Rupert Sheldrake, suggesting that self-organizing systems such as living organisms inherit a memory from previously similar systems. The idea challenges the traditional notion that laws are fixed and deterministic, instead proposing that they are like habits. Might also go in line with chaos theory and like the butterfly effect. Who knows? It's, it could, you know, that's just something that people say, like that might be why places are haunted, right? Because you've got this lingering energy that we can't really explain yet. And the energy forms these habit loops that people keep getting into the same situation in a same physical location. You know, like space and time are interwoven with each other. I don't know, guys. I'm just talking out of my ass. Eric says the peg the Pedi. So yeah, again, shout out to the maker. Who is it? 9 Iron Capital and all the smart guys that are making a front end. But here's the thing that I want to be careful with about Pedi, everybody. The reason that I don't have, you know, an irresponsible amount of my bag in Pedi is that, you know, they're going to vote on the collateral types, right? So let's say HEX, PulseChain, PulseX get added as collateral types to Pedi. That seems likely. It seems reasonable, okay? But then you're also making a big assumption that Richard Hart is going to put, you know, his billions of dollars, whatever it is, $50 billion worth of collateral into a vault to peg it to that ratio. If he were to do this, I don't think he would do this anytime soon. And the reason I say that is because you have to look at the liquidity. And really you have to understand what the word buy-side liquidity means. So, you know, regardless of... So imagine Pedi pegs overnight. Like next month, you wake up, oh, Pedi, it's $1 Pedi, yay. But what does that really mean? Look at all the top holders in Pedi and look at how many of them have over 50 million Pedi. If these guys all have magically overnight $50 million worth of purchasing power, Some of those guys are going to be Jeets. Some of those guys are going to be non-believers. Some of them might be happy. They might start buying up the price of other tokens. Some of them are going to want to run right for the door. And when people run for the exit in crypto, what do they run for? They usually, if you're lucky, they stop at the L1 token. If you're lucky, they Jeet for Pulse and they hold the Pulse. But what most people do is they Jeet for stablecoins. And right now, unfortunately, at this stage in time, there are only $40 million of buy-side liquidity in the form of stablecoins that are globally recognized by governments. So you've got Circle and Tether and Pedi and EDI. And Circle and Tether are actually, backed by dollars at a bank. EDI is backed by Ethereum. But this is essentially the bottleneck, where if everybody had to get out of the system at the same time, you could only extract like $40 million. Now, if we look at all the PDAI liquidity pairs right now, and again, this could change. So before you say, oh, I'm flooding your bags, I'm telling you what would have to happen in order for PDAI to peg, and why it's in this current state of the market, it's very unlikely that Richard would put up his money without more liquidity, because go search on Dex Screener for all the PDAI liquidity on PulseChain. Sure, a bunch of it is tied to Atropa, and that liquidity was burned. Yeah, that's great. Whatever. But there's also the PulseChain PDAI liquidity pool only has about $1 million worth, meaning only $500,000 of PulseChain liquidity tied to PDAI. And those liquidity providers, if everybody became magic overnight gazillionaires, they'd be in a lot of trouble, because the Jeets would want to run for the door and they'd dump it all to Pulse, and they'd dump the Pulse for DAI. And the way the world works right now is that we're at this early stage in crypto that most people prefer dollars. And most people, the purchasing power is in the US dollar. So if they want to exit $4, there's very limited. It would be like creating a whole giant balloon of air that's all trying to squeeze out of a very tiny balloon hole. I don't know. That's the best metaphor I could come up with on the spot. Now, if we encourage more liquidity, like I know 9inch, for example, they've got some PDAI farms, right? But you would have to have many, many millions more of liquidity buy side, meaning stable coins, Ethereum, or maybe PulseChain. Maybe Ethereum and PulseChain and stable coins that are already globally recognized. You'd have to have those be interchangeable. So like maybe never mind. I was going to talk about the stable pool on PulseX, but that probably wouldn't be a good idea either. You would have to have so much more liquidity that would be able to absorb and recognize the legitimacy of PDAI being at $1, because it can say, the Oracle can say that PDAI is at $1. But now you've got, 50 guys with 100 million PDAI. All it would take is one or two of these guys to say, screw this, I'm getting out of here. Right? So I think we just need to be at a more mature stage in the market before we can start talking about that. But look, what else can you do? My friend Crypto Kings was talking about, well, what if Richard Hart incentivized, PDAI by making a new yield farm, maybe tying INC to PDAI. Maybe if you tied INC to PDAI, that would encourage a whole bunch of people to buy up INC and lock it to PDAI, and then, stabilize the ecosystem so that people don't cheat and wreck the whole thing. But look, the TVL of PulseChain right now is about $350 million. And people don't realize how good PulseChain is already doing. PulseChain is number 9 by TVL. At only a year and a half old, it's already number 9 by TVL. We've got tens of thousands of real people using this, not VCs trying to shill it on retail. Real people. It's the people's blockchain. So think about how good we're actually doing. But even if you do have $350 million of TVL, another good question to ask is how much of that is actually buy side? How much of that is actually backing the value in USD? When you look on chain, you see about 40 million. So maybe about 10% of all the TVL is actually in buy-side stablecoin liquidity that essentially holds up the value. Just like Tether and USDC, people don't realize, but they kind of hold up. They're kind of like the gateways on and off ramps, and exchanges as well. But if everybody tried to dump all their Bitcoin and run for the hills, right, they'd have to exit through things like Tether and USDC. And right now, you've got, maybe 100 billion, 150 billion of Tether, but you've got many more billions of Ethereum, Bitcoin, and all the altcoins. So in both cases, you see how they're just like fractals of each other? Like there's always going to be less USD liquidity propping up something that has amplified the greater whole to a lot more higher market cap. But the circulating supply, if it all tried to get out on the same day, would be squeezing through a tight hole. So I think you'd have to be careful making too many people rich too fast without enough liquidity. Because people don't value things that they got for free. I tweeted this earlier, but I deleted it because I made a mistake in the tweet. But people don't value stuff they get for free. They value stuff they pay for. And so that's why a lot of airdrops aren't good for the price, right? Like imagine if you just airdropped 10 Bitcoin to 100,000 people. You know, what would happen? They'd all dump the Bitcoin. Now, I know it's not the same, right? But if PDAI pegs too quickly at too immature of a stage of the market, you're going to make too many people too rich too fast. And some of those people are going to jeet, right? So I'm not flooding your bags, bros. Your bags are going to pump. It's going to be fine. But you can't jump to conclusions and expect that this is going to happen like very soon. If it does happen, it's going to become, it would have to be at a stage of maturity. Now, and also, I don't know what Richard's up to. Another thing that Richard could be doing with PDAI is he could have been quietly scooping up all the PDAI. I mean, for all I know, if you want some bullish FUD, right? Like maybe all those top holders of PDAI, maybe that was Richard from the early days. Maybe he was scooping up all the excess liquidity because like he did with the automated market maker, maybe he's been scooping up all the PDAI. And when you look at the top holders of PDAI, maybe there's actually not that much of a threat because maybe a lot of those wallets are sacrifice addresses or origin address wallets. I don't know. That's a bullish conspiracy, but I can't prove that. But if I was Richard and I did want to do the pegging, I would also try to make sure there's as little possible liquid PDAI in the hands of the holders so that they can't just jeet it, right? Because there's billions of PDAI out there. And if those billions of PDAI were in your guys' hands and my hands, I know exactly what would happen. You know, if I was holding a billion PDAI, I don't know if I could trust myself not to just, I mean, of course, I'd probably, whoever would be cheating wouldn't want to say this publicly, right? But if you wake up in the morning and you see $1 billion in your account, somebody out there, one of you guys, maybe most of us, right? We'd try to get out as soon as we can because for a lot of average people, $50 million or however much you can extract, $30 million, right? Maybe you can extract $30 million, but that's life-changing money to whoever gets to run out the door first, right? So in order to mitigate that, you'd want as little actual PDAI in the hands of the holders, which is why the Atropa thing was cool, right? Because the guy that locked all the PDAI to Atropa, they burned like 3 billion PDAI. Because you don't want actually a lot of this PDAI. You don't want hundreds of millions of dollars in everyday people like you and me's hands if it magically pegs to $1 quickly. Because jeeters are going to jeet and everybody has their price. And with great power comes great responsibility. And we all, let's be honest, we cannot be trusted. If Richard gave everybody, let's say Richard gave like 1,000 people in the community $5 million just overnight. That would be a terrible idea because those people would take the money and they'd run. Screw your allegiance to Richard Hart. You know what I mean? So you just don't want to give people freebies or too much of a freebie. Anyway, that's my PDAI rant. Love those liberal tears. A little extra salty. That's right, Pookie Doo. Jimmy Diamond says, yo, yo, yo. Gold says, morning from Japan. Hexo Windstream. Everybody just wants Hexologist. I get it, guys. I get it. I'm like Hexologist Junior, okay? What do you think it feels like to be me, guys? Let the jeets jeet. The lettuce hands will wilt. Doesn't matter what price is now. Matters what it is next year. That's right, Pookie Doo. I've got time. I've got time to wait and see. Yeah, I've watched the Decentralize Me video. Shout out to Decentralize Me. He's making great content. Look, the pieces are coming together. All I'm saying is that we have to be careful connecting too many dots too early. And like I said, I mean, to mitigate some of the sell pressure from all this PDAI floating around out there are things you could do. Like you could buy it off the open market. We don't know. That might actually be happening. You could incentivize yield farms to lock up a lot of the supply liquidity. You could, what was the other thing you could do? Well, that's all I can remember right now. But you would just want to remove sell pressure. You'd also want to just increase liquidity pools to make it so that, you know, it's more legitimized in the terms of everybody else. Everyone outside the PulseChain ecosystem, you know, at first, no centralized exchange is going to be like, oh yeah, PDAI is worth $1, because you have to also take into account people have to take time to recognize. Like if MakerDAO tried launching in 2011, it probably wouldn't have worked because everybody would just be like, you're gonna take a random coin called Ethereum, and then you're gonna make a stable coin that's pegged to the price of this random thing called Ethereum, right? And so in 2011, it's way too early. But in 2015, 2016, 2017, I don't know when Maker was invented. But at that time, the time was just right because enough people had recognized globally that Ethereum does have some value. So, do enough people globally recognize that PulseChain, HEX, PulseX have some dollar value, and will they honor? Will the consensus of the crypto community honor the fact that these PDAIs are worth $1? I think a lot of exchanges, guys, I think a lot of mainstream crypto and mainstream people in general are going to need a little more time to adapt to that situation. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Don't shoot the messenger. Harris is not pro crypto, allegedly. Yeah, I don't trust that she's pro crypto. She's been in office for 4 years, and although she's getting bribed, she's also, look, on the bright side, okay, Mr. Brad Garlic Breath, he's trying to bribe Kamala. So when I say that, I mean to fire Gary Gensler. So to fire Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, the guy that's chugging semen all day. That guy. The guy that we literally stood in front of a courthouse holding up "Fire Gary Gensler" signs. So I think Congress, regardless of who gets elected, is not happy. And I do hope that if we get a blue guy in the office, that they get bribed to have a regime change in the SEC. But I know for a fact that Mr. Trump has verbatim said, "I will fire Gary Gensler." That's part of his actual plan. He said it. Turk Montana says, "I hope the election isn't rigged." I feel like every election in all of history has been rigged to some degree, meaning voter fraud. But I guess the question is how much voter fraud. And, when you see videos of ballot boxes on fire, it doesn't instill a whole lot of confidence when you see like a bunch of, states not requiring voter ID. It's like, why would they do that? I don't know if it takes a genius to figure out. But I do think that there's one candidate that's very popular. More popular than anyone might realize. Franklin says, "What's Gucci?" What's going on, Franklin? Franklin St. Hex. Is PDAI free money? Look, PDAI is going to be around for a while. The narrative's not going anywhere. I don't think the pegging is happening anytime soon. Like I said, it has to do with market maturity, more liquidity, more recognition. Because if PDAI pegged tomorrow, I don't think that would be good for PulseChain at all. You know what I mean? So I think Richard has a long-term plan. Obviously, we've all seen Richard talking about a stable coin. We've seen him talking about a nation state. We've seen him talking about a wallet, like all these things that he wants to do. Stablecoin was one of them. Hey, thank you, Artie. Thank you so much. Hold on a second. We're going to read that in a second. But we've seen Richard talk about these things that he wants to do. So I can see why people might be thinking that this PDAI thing might be part of his master plan, his magnum opus. And when I think about it, it gets me really, really excited. But there's a lot more that would have to happen in terms of we need a much more mature market than simply just, I think it's way too early for Richard to just go ahead and put all of his Pulse and PulseX and HEX into the VAT, or the vault rather. Same thing, kind of, in order to back the price and to peg the price. Hey, Crypto Artie, thank you so much. Great seeing you at the seminar. Things are getting promising, especially when all the influencers jump on board with the greatest crypto narrative. Right now, the main focus is tomorrow with pro-crypto legislation. That's right, Artie. It was great seeing you, bro. Artie's a real one. True believer, and a PDAI enthusiast. I know Crypto Artie's into the PDAI. Yeah, we hung out. We all went to New York City, the belly of the beast, for a couple of days. I'm already back, obviously, but we did what we had to do. We went there. We packed the courthouse, about 70 people. Very unprecedented. It definitely made an impression on the judge. You could tell. There was just a feeling, right? There was every comment that was made. There was a reaction that you could just feel, with people's body language. When you get a group of people in a room and, comments are made and then there's muttering and coughing and kind of feel that energy. And it was very clear whose side we were on. Not to mention, I think somebody actually emailed them just to let them know, hey, by the way, we're on Richard's side. So just, if you thought we were on the SEC side, definitely not. But I mean, it was so obvious anyway. It says it's so obvious. He says he would build a wall too. Yeah, look, politicians say they're going to do a lot of things, and they get into office, and it's they don't even do a fraction of what they said they were going to do. That's any politician since the beginning of time, because once you get into office, there's a lot of people pulling your arm, trying to bribe you, trying to lobby for you, get your attention, and direct some of your money and attention to their pet projects. So after pegging and selling Pedi to stables, it won't affect the price if you account for maker's mechanics. The bull run could start from PulseChain. Hold on a second, Dolphin Rising. Let me try to understand this. After pegging and selling Pedi to stables, it won't affect the price if you account for maker's mechanics. Well, that's the thing. There's not enough liquidity right now to sell the Pedi for those stable coins. So what I'm talking about is yes, theoretically you're right, but you need to bond a lot more of these stable coins to Pedi. Just like we've got a HEX-backed stable coin right now, but it's not super useful right now because the liquidity on it is so low. So there's a stable coin called HEX DC. It's literally just a stable coin backed by HEX. Very similar kind of idea. But because we don't have this maturity in the liquidity pools yet, and I'm not saying we'll never get there. Like the way things are now are not the way things are going to be in the future. Things are always getting better. They're always evolving. There's always more and more liquidity. But right now we're nowhere near the liquidity that we would need to handle a bunch of quote unquote overnight millionaires. Hey, what's up, Tam Tam? Good to see you. Just came back to the bear market after being gone for over a year. And you're still saying HEX is good? That's right, bro. Welcome. We're still here believing. 231 people are here. They also agree. Thousands of people online. We're still here. We haven't left. Don't you worry. We're still as bullish as ever. Is it under a penny? Let's check. Let's take a look, shall we? What's the price of HEX? It's not under a penny. You're not even right about the price. It's 1.1 pennies, dude. Are you looking at EHEX? Make sure, look, if you haven't heard by now, we've got EHEX and we've got PHEX, just so you know. So there's a new version of HEX on the Pulse chain. It's about 5 times higher price than EHEX. So like, new people or existing people that forgot about it. We got 2 versions of HEX now. PHEX is the one with the cheap fees. It's the one where staking makes more sense. It's the one that I'm buying more of right now. Some people are still buying EHEX, as a meme coin, maybe, sure. There might be some random pumps that you get out of EHEX, but, for me personally, my money's going to PHEX. But I'm not EESing, right? I'm not emergency unstaking EHEX because anything can happen. Just like we saw earlier a couple months ago. What was it, like a month and a half ago? EHEX actually snapped all the way back up to a 2-to-1 ratio. Remember that, guys. So that's how fast EHEX can make a reversal because it's so low liquidity. Everyone's given up on it. It's hated by everybody. It's basically HEX Classic, right? It's almost a meme coin. Almost. And right now it's 5-to-1 ratio, EHEX to PHEX, but a couple weeks ago, it snapped up to 2-to-1. So maybe there's some kind of a play to be made there for some people that want to follow that. Maybe. Einar says, Coffee, do I think HEX will pump before Pulse X? Do I think HEX will pump before Pulse X? Well, I mean, it already has been pumping kind of before Pulse X, If you look at the last month, I don't know. I think HEX has the biggest brand name recognition. So wouldn't be surprised on that end if people are trying to ape into the ecosystem. Maybe they'll just recognize HEX. Maybe they won't like HEX. Maybe Pulse X will be like the fresh start because maybe everyone has like a bad connotation of HEX. So could go either way. But I like HEX and Pulse X because those are the endpoints, right? So when you're buying HEX or Pulse X, you're buying Pulse first because all the liquidity is tied to Pulse, and then you're buying HEX and Pulse X. So I like the idea of pushing these coins that are at the endpoints. You know what I mean? Regardless of which one pumps, like your Pulse bag is going to pump along the way. The hearing seems to have gone well. There's no evidence of jurisdiction or fraud. If there's no evidence of jurisdiction or fraud, then is it not more likely to get dismissed? Yes, DP. I'm just giving out random odds here. It's like 50-50 at this point, but that's up from maybe less than 10%. I was very not I was very hesitant to be excited about a dismissal. And let's just say I'm a lot more excited about it now because that jurisdiction argument was so strong. And the fact that the judge had an understanding of, well, where are these blockchain transactions? And referring to past case law, the receiver of the transactions has to be in the USA for you to have jurisdiction. And she referred to these cases. And we're going to get the transcript. We'll do a read through of the transcript. We'll run it through AI. We'll make a whole thing out of it. I'm sure everybody on YouTube will be talking about it. Everybody on Twitter will be talking about it. But over the next month or two, we get to dissect everything that happened. And yeah, jurisdiction, when there was no, when all the marketing or promotion, so to speak, was done on the internet, and the internet's a global thing. And just because it happens to hit some people in the USA, it seems likely that there's not enough evidence of jurisdiction. Also, another thing, and you might want to check with Nuclear Herbs on this, but I believe I remember, I should have taken notes, man. I didn't have a pen or paper on me. I didn't think I was going to need one, but we had to put our phones in there. We had to put our phones away. But I believe there was a point about the alter ego entities where the judge asked the SEC, so did you drop the alter ego identities claims? Because I don't hear you talking about these as alter ego entities. And they had to ask that question like 2 or 3 times because the SEC was not giving a clear answer. And they'd done this multiple times where she asked a simple yes or no question and the SEC refused to answer no. Likely because they wanted to go reach back and grab that BS argument if they had to at a later point. But she was very adamant about, like 3 times, I think she asked, so you're dropping the alter ego entities thing, right? And then they were like, well, we the Howey test and blah, blah, blah. But not just giving a simple direct no. So if there is a partial dismissal, like one possibility that I can see happening would be maybe it's just Richard Hart getting sued. Right? Maybe HEX, PulseChain, PulseX are just thrown out. And I mean, if any one of them is going to get thrown out, it's going to be probably HEX versus PulseChain or PulseX because those are in a different category. And she understood all this too, right? The judge was very understanding of like, okay, so PulseX and Pulse are on this timeline. HEX was built, 5 years ago. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if they narrow it down to a simple lawsuit where it's SEC versus Richard Hart. And imagine the way that we could spin that news, right? Once the Hexicans and Pulsicans get a hold of that news, we're going to put that in a positive light. If that did happen, can you imagine what we'd be saying? We'd be like, SEC dropped the case against HEX, PulseChain, PulseX. Theoretically, right? Because technically that'd be true. Oh, they're only suing Richard now. They're not suing the software code anymore because you can't sue software code. So it's really all about just like the framing, right? Framing this as look, at the end of the day, they can't stop you from buying it. They can't stop you from selling it. So any partial win that we get, we need to amplify that partial win to all of crypto and make all of crypto realize that we've already won just by nature of what we have. We have decentralized software with no middleman that cannot be shut off no matter what the SEC does. There's no off switch on this stuff. So if we get some progress like that, even a partial dismissal is still a huge win as far as I'm concerned. Trump puts an S at the end of Pedi. Pedis. What's good, pimp? Hello, Ihan. Let's see. EHEX is still valid AF. Hey, I'm not going to bash your EHEX, bro. Your HEX Classic is cool with me. If you guys want to keep on buying that, go ahead. I've still got mine. I'm not emergency end staking mine by any means. And also, you could still try, liquidity bonding. I think 9inch actually has a yield farm for it. EHEX, PHEX yield farm. There's stuff you can do with it, There's also a really cool new HEX protocol called Actuator, where it's kind of like liquid staking. It's kind of like Maximus, but it's not like Maximus. And it was audited, no sacrifice. I mean, these guys, I met the guy in New York, actually. Very smart guy. He was, he works in like finance and like the military and all this stuff. Just one of these like really big brain type of dudes. And he made this protocol called Actuator.finance. Ticker is ACTR. And basically like you put HEX in here and it mints you a HEX time token that backs all your HEX. So it's basically like a HEX derivative similar to Maximus, but it's built on the HSI software. So if you mint HTT, you actually have an HSI and you can mint your Hedron off of that HSI. I'd like to see Actuator potentially get more popular. I think it's a very solid thing. I've looked at it a lot, and I haven't done a deep dive on it. Maybe in the future I'll make a video about it because I need to really understand it before I do. But audited, decentralized, no admin keys, no sacrifice, just trying to build new use cases for HEX. I think that's cool. But we'll see what the market thinks, shall we? Actuator.finance. Might not be a bad idea to start letting people know they have a free copy now that the bull run is very close. Yeah, guys, you have a free copy of all your ERC20 coins on PulseChain. They're called PRC20 coins. Can you tell Internet Money Wallet is safe? I like Internet Money Wallet. Look, no wallet is 100% safe ever, but Internet Money Wallet, they're super audited. I think double, maybe triple audited. Been running fine for well over a year now. KG is a great founder. Very PulseChain friendly. As far as PulseChain tokens goes for trading them, it's a great user experience as well. And also very private because they don't collect any of your data at all. Now, none of your data. So even if a three-letter agency asks them for data, they don't have any data to give them. So I like internetmoney.io. I use it as my hot wallet. The only thing holding me back from using that instead of my Rabby is basically, it's basically as simple as the Lindy effect, right? I like, like I said, 99% sure Internet Money is great, but nothing is without risk. And the longer something has been around, the longer you can expect it to continue to be around. That's the Lindy effect. The longer something has existed, the greater its future implied existence is, right? Like if a restaurant's been around for 1 month, well, we're not so sure it's going to be around in 2 years. But if a restaurant's been around for 2 years, well, we can be pretty sure that it's going to be around in 2 more years. So the longer something's been around, the longer it's probably going to be around. Internet Money is great. KG is great. User experience is great. The privacy is great. It's audited out the yin yang. I know a lot of people using it. I myself use it for my hot wallet. That's all I got for you on that. Nothing is without risk. Nowhere near a meme. HEX will do a 10,000x easy. You're right. All right. Some people don't like to call HEX a meme coin. I totally get that. At the end of the day, everything's kind of a meme coin because a meme is just an idea. So if somebody likes meme coins, look, HEX is a meme coin. If somebody likes DeFi utility, look, HEX is DeFi utility. HEX is everything to anyone. Whatever you want it to be, whatever floats your boat, that's what HEX can be for you. God, I sound like a religious zealot. Look, I get it. EHEX still has utility as well, but does have higher gas fees if you want to stake it on Ethereum. What do you mean by free copy? Oh, look, so if you were holding any coin at all on May 13th, 2023, you have a free copy of that coin. So let's say you were holding Aave token or DAI. You now have a copy called PAave or PDAI. And that's over on the PulseChain network. So if you want to see if you have any free money, guys, check this out. If you want to go check if you have free money on PulseChain, maybe you're new here. I always forget there's new people. Go to gopulse.com/start. gopulse.com/start. And you copy paste your address in there. And you can connect your wallet or just copy and paste your public address. It's going to tell you how many free coin copies you have and how much they're worth, how much dollars they're worth. 98 likes. Let's get to 150. That's right, Benny Blanco. That's more eyes on our chain. Hell yeah, Benny Blanco. Thank you. If you only have crypto, you are fucked. Physical assets in hand, just like your keys, is more important now than ever. Silver, silver, silver. I'll let you do the silver shill, bro. Go ahead. I mean, look, there's a lot of guys that are into precious metals, gold and silver. I think crypto and precious metals, they overlap great. I've got a silver coin right next to me here. A little silver bullion. I like it. But, crypto, I think it's got a lot more price potential. It weighs a lot less than physical gold. And when I look at the price charts of silver, they just don't seem to go up and to the right as hard. But, they've got use cases in various technology applications and jewelry. I've got silver and gold jewelry. I like that. IM Money is better and easy and works for Pulse. That's right. Somebody says, I prefer Rabby. Yeah, Rabby and Internet Money, they're both fine. They're both good. They're both good. You know, it's like I prefer apples and versus oranges. Life is a meme coin. Life is a meme coin, bro. It's all just a meme coin. Always has been, always will be. I got a little time for full disclosure, lol. Why actuator over Hedron? Well, actuator is built on HSIs. So if you use actuator, you can mint your Hedron still. Not sure I understand that question. Actuator might be good in cases where you need the instant liquidity for your HEX stake like now. Or if you want to trade derivatives, if you want to trade ratios on what the future stake value would be worth. It's a little bit easier than trading HSIs as NFTs. But it still is an HSI. But instead of trading that HSI as an NFT, you can liquidate the HEX time tokens and trade those as the thing reaches maturity. So as your HTT tokens reach maturity, they'll eventually be worth all the HEX that the whole stake accrued. Look, it's a very complicated thing to like try to explain right now when I haven't even read up on it fully. So, you know, go check out actuator.finance. Come to your own conclusions, but I'm definitely keeping my eye on that one. That's all I'm saying. Can't wait till the gatekeeping is unleashed with exchange listings. That's right, sir. That's right. Some guys just chanting silver. Some guy just loved silver in the chat there. Hey, that's cool, man. Do your thing, dude. Silver sucks, hasn't done shit. Metals don't keep up with inflation. Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, I've got metals as jewelry, and I've got a little gold and silver piece just for shits and giggles, basically. But if you want the gains, you know, crypto's where it's at. Watch out, there's a new fake gold. Okay, guys, watch out for the fake gold in Asia. Just like watch out for the fake crypto out there. Fake crypto, fake gold, fake everything, fake news. Just follow what BlackRock is doing, and it's pretty clear the future is digital assets on the blockchain. That's right, Benny Blanco. Look, when BlackRock is talking about it, all BlackRock would have to do is launch an advertising campaign for the Ethereum ETFs. I think they're going to wait till the election is over. I think they're going to wait till the Fed reverses interest rates a little more, lowers interest rates. Because institutions have a lot of time to wait. They don't want to take risks. They're risk averse. They want to just chill. And then they're accumulating the whole time, by the way. BlackRock is accumulating Ethereum and already has been accumulating Bitcoin. I think they own 2 or 3% of all the Bitcoin. It's a lot. And now that they've got in, they're just going to take their time. And when they're ready to shill it to you, they're going to make all the trading fees. And all the 401ks and the IRAs are going to start getting into a little Bitcoin ETF, Ethereum ETF. We still have a large portion of the world to go, guys. We're not anywhere near the top of the S-curve yet on crypto. You're a good dude. It's tough to do Q&A. I hope we get what we want. Sick of missing, that's all. No worries, Gus. I appreciate you, bro. Can't control who is chosen. Can't choose who is president. Well, we could try. We could try. That's all we can do is try, right? If you think you can control it and you think you can't control it, either way, you are correct. Been holding gold and silver since 2005, gains. Now everyone's just talking shit about gold. Look, man, the gold guys, feel free to get into a better asset class. You know, when you go try to go across the country, the TSA doesn't check how many bars of crypto that you have because it's all in your head. It's all on a piece of paper. But if you try to go across the borders with a little bit of gold shoved up your yin yang, they're going to catch you. How is PR weather? It is beautiful, as always. Beautiful, beautiful place. All right, what else have we got to talk about, guys? Election, PDAI. Just keep an eye on him, right? Just keep an eye on PDAI. I don't know if it's going to peg. I'm very wary of being overexposed, but I'm also very euphoric when I think about how amazing it theoretically could be. Election, PDAI, SEC versus Richard Hart. Look, yeah, I mean, it was bullish, guys. I don't know. I don't know what you want me to say. It was very bullish. The sentiment is very, very high for Richard Hart beating the SEC. And if not a full dismissal, at least partial. Full dismissal is still on the table. We'll find out in the next month to 2 months. In the next 30 to 60 days, the judge is going to make a decision. Ammo is better than gold in that situation. That's right. Ammo is pretty good. Maybe even oil too. That's right. If shit hits the fan, you can't go trade gold. You're trading food and ammo. That's right. That's right. Anyone know when the next HEX conference is? It's in March, dude. Go to HEX conference. No, PulseChainTour.com. PulseChainTour.com. I think it's in March. I think that by 2030, HEX becomes the one world currency and is backed by physical gold. I know, I'm far out there. That is a little crazy. But, you know, hey, maybe we get that nation state. Maybe the national currency of Hexaco is HEX. And maybe it's backed by something. I don't know. That is out in left field over there. What's the best / popular PulseChain meme coin? Still Teddy Bear? Look, you got Teddy Bear. That's tightly connected to the Richard Hart saga, Richard Hart lore. I heard they got a duck token. you guys like trading Richard Hart stuffed animals, there's a duck as well. Richard Hart gonna bend Gensler over his knee. Yikes. Probably, bro. Probably. Except the ammo and Kareem's back. I saw Kareem in New York. He's free. It's good to see Kareem. It's good to see that he's out of that situation. That was rough. That was not good. Hex or PulseX pump first coffee. Dude, I don't know. I mean, whatever I tell you, I'm just going to be guessing, but I'm going to guess Hex. I'm just going to guess. It's a guess. Just a guess, Einar. Land, seeds, oil, and water is what we should obtain along with crypto, gold, and silver. Look, I don't know, man. Silver and gold makes nice jewelry, but my new money is going into crypto. PulseChain from Poland, that's right. We're headed for dark times as the banking situation was in bad shape before and it's much worse now, which is why the next distraction is about to be unleashed. Look, I think our own worst enemy is sometimes ourselves and what we focus on. I do have a little bit of fear, and I don't want to FUD everybody, but, you know, civil unrest in 2025 seems very likely. Probably election related, probably algorithm related. There's going to be things with AI and 5G and lack of privacy. I mean, we got to stay 2 steps ahead with technology. And we got to stay up to date on the best way to live a life outside of the system while still having 1 foot in the system. I just sold my duck and it 3x the next day. Ain't that how it goes, Arrow Point? That's meme coin. That's the meme coin game for you. You sell your duck and it triples. Yeah, I don't really have a lot of meme coin picks, you guys. On PulseChain, what do we have on PulseChain? I'm going to read you some names. You got Diamond. You got like a Richard Hart Diamond token. Let's see. Yeah, PulseChain is still number 9 by TVL. Number 9, top 10. And everything above PulseChain in the top 10 has been around for 3, 4, 5 years at least. So we're doing pretty good, guys. We're doing all right. You know, we're doing way better than sometimes it might seem like. Holy shit, you've got Mog up here. Still only 100K of liquidity, but I mean, you've got, if you like ticker symbols named Mog, basically anything that's pumping on Solana that did really well, people will just copy that, put it on PulseChain. It's funny. PTGC still up there. Loan token. Kumamon. I don't even know what that is. Yeah, look, if you like meme coins, guys, there's no shortage of meme coins. Alien. X. UpX. Helgo. SolidX. Gophers. Good old fashioned unregistered security. Oh, man. PCRO token. Somehow still hanging in there. Can't wait to hear the officials declare HEX a non-security. Me too, man. Me too. I'd be happy with a 50x by summer. Yeah, me too, Obito. I'd be real happy with a 50x by summer, sir. Thoughts on Alti? It's going to give Titan X a run for its money. It's very interesting design. You know, I'm skeptical long term, but I think Alti is going to be that new shiny object. That it's kind of like, if you can tell by now, like, I've seen so many of these things come and go that you can tell when something's at least going to be the shiny object in the short term. So I'm going to toss, I've got like some ETH laying around. I'm going to probably toss it into Alti so that at least in the short term, I can capitalize on like the shiny object chasers. Now, whether or not people become TCs, top contributors, like I have no interest in becoming a top contributor with referral links and all that stuff. And part of that is just because, I've staked so much reputation in the HEX and PulseChain ecosystem. I'm not just going to drop everything and go shill some totally other ecosystem, but it does have the potential for like, the mainstream influencers, if somehow they pick up on it, like maybe Altcoin Daily or who knows, Ivan on Tech or some of those people where, they don't have the Richard Hart stigma, but they can still get behind something like maybe Joe Paris will pick it up. And if you get 33 of these top contributors to keep shilling and have referral links, it might have more of a longer term viability as well. Like I believe in Alti more than I believe in Titan, but HEX over all that. HEX is still king. HEX is greater than Alti, is greater than Titan. But if you can tell, and it's gonna be very controversial. You're gonna see a lot of people yelling, screaming, pointing fingers, saying he's not pure. He's not a pure Hexican. That's okay, guys. It's okay. There's enough money to go around in the world. There's billions and billions of dollars out there. I'm still going to focus on getting more money into the PulseChain ecosystem. But one interesting thing about Alti is like as a test run, if it actually does work out, I mean, I kind of want it to work out so that we can take it and put it on PulseChain. Just theoretically, if Alti pumps, then it would put buy pressure on the price of Ethereum. Meaning if we copied that on PulseChain and it still worked out, it would pump the price of PLS as well. It's basically just like fresh new Ponzi-nomics, fresh new pumpamentals, whatever term you prefer. I find it very interesting. I think it's a great design. I don't know. You don't have the charismatic leader, right? No offense to Steph. I love Steph, but he's not Richard Hart. And so it depends. If a cult is going to form around it, time will tell. But either way, I think it's going to short-term pump. But I think it doesn't launch for another month or something. I will not be selling my HEX or my Pulse or my Pulse X for that one. But I am talking about it because I genuinely find it interesting. I don't think it's a scam, but I also, long-term viability is questionable. Coffee, who's that lawyer in the HEX space that we hear from time to time? His name is Nuclear Herbs. Maybe a good guest for this post-SEC hearing. Yeah, maybe I should have him on. I think Corey Costa just had him on. Shout out to Corey Costa. He's always having people on. Maybe I should reach out to Nuclear Herbs. We hung out. We did like a seminar together in New York. Great guy. They just shut down 3G network in Australia, already causing problems. What do you mean, Hex Amigo? What do you mean? Dome token? The silver guy is now shilling a flat earth token. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, I met the flat earth token guy in New York as well. Nice guy. Yeah, we've got everything in crypto, guys. We've got a flat earth token. I'm one of those round earth shills, though. The round earth is paying me to shill round earth. I'm a round earther. We have squirrel with nut. Oh, yeah. We got a bunch of squirrel memes. Poor little peanuts. The Harambe of our time. The Harambe of now. Man, it feels like Harambe was yesterday. Mark my words, guys. Peanut's gonna be the spark of the American Civil War too. People are gonna blame it on Peanut. I can see it now. Gate Captain still doing all right. All of you are awesome. Community power is in the asset. That's right, guys. A lot of money floating around out in that world out there. They keep printing more money. So let's just get all that money into PulseChain. It'll obviously flow into HEX, PulseX, INC. Just takes time. Can't wait to hear the officials declare HEX a non-security. Oh, we've already read this. Hey, guys. Thanks for watching. All 223 of you. Like, subscribe, share the video, and leave a comment. All that stuff after I end the stream. If you leave a comment, it boosts the algorithm. It helps all of us pump our bags. Helps the whole thing go viral. Like, subscribe on YouTube, Twitter. I guess I'm on TikTok and Instagram. Haven't really got a whole lot of attention on there. Spread the word, guys. Spread the word. Exciting times are ahead. Donnie T, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed for Donnie T. Fingers crossed for Richard Hart and the SEC and Gensler getting fired and HEX to the moon and Pedi do $1. Unlikely anytime soon, but it's possible. Anything is possible, guys. They said HEX 10,000X was crazy. PDAI will peg millionaires overnight. I'd love to see it, man. I'm doubtful, but I'd love to see it. Goodbye, Trevor. Hex Amigo, Enoch, peace. See you guys.